Hi everybody, it's Kathy here from Kathy Loves a Scrap, and I'm coming to you from the land down under on this wonderful Sunday, and we are stretching the sketch. That's right, on the third Sunday of every month we get given a sketch and we either stretch it or we shrink it, and this is the sketch by Miss Carrie's Creations. All her details will be down in the list below, and today I have shrunk it. So normally it was a double page layout, I've made it down to a single page. So that's how I am stretching the sketch this time round. So I've collected together a whole range of bits and pieces that I'm going to put together because there are just all those wonderful fishtail banners in there and some layering up of elements behind the photos. I took these photos here of the supermoon in September along with the semi-eclipse, and so I thought I would do that today. I'm using this paper here from the Stamperia range of Alchemy, and I'm going to use that as my background piece of paper. I love this paper, but I didn't want to use the busy side. I'm going to use this side. It's got the more astrological side of it so that it ties in with those moon photos. Just because it is this type of a scattering page, I wanted to add some ink splatters just to the spaces that I know that there will be blanks. Now, as I said, this was a partial eclipse night, and you can see that in that bottom photo where I captured the eclipse where the moon was passing through the sun. And you can also see on the bottom right hand of that panel an amazing shot that I just captured as I was shooting away that night, where a mosquito just happened to be perfectly in the photo frame as I took that photo, and I didn't even know until I was looking through them when I was checking out the detail of that. Now, I've always been wanting to be able to capture the moon well with a camera, and with my new well, not my new one, it's my Samsung Z Fold, I am now able to do so. But my son's camera on the Samsung, I think it's the S24, his is so much clearer as well. But what we're going to do, just to layer it up as per Miss Carrie's beautiful sketch, is we're going to have a lot of fishtail banners. So my very first one that I'm using on the left hand side of the page is going to be a full length one. The rest I'm going to use my papers because I'm stretching my stash. I'm using up my scraps. So I am going to make multiples of small fishtail banners, which I will tuck in behind the photos so that they look like they're the full length. And that is a great way of being able to stretch what you have to ensure that you can achieve the look balanced across the layout without having to cut up a 12 by 12 page just to get your fishtail banners. So I'm using my scraps and I'm creating the same feel that is in the sketch that Miss Carrie provided for us this month. So when you use up your scraps, it's really a good idea to choose colours that complement your photo. So I went through all my scraps and I chose ones that were either like this one here, astrologically related, or I chose in the blacks and the greys and the whites and the oranges, which were reflected in the colours of the moon that I captured that night. This happened back in September. It was a big event, and I was very fortunate that Sydney didn't have a cloudy night that night, and we were able to get these spectacular photos. As you can see, the clarity of those photos of the moon are amazing, and I am very grateful that I was able to capture that ring of the eclipse. That was something very special as well. So as you can see here, I have got those pieces together and I have mounted them on black because I want them to stand out on that background. So off screen, I've gone ahead and I put all those fishtails together. You didn't need to see how long that takes. It takes a bit of time, so that is a bit of fiddly work, but it's worth it in the end. I put down my photo here, which is a square of the four of them. I made it a collage print, so I didn't have to actually do any further work with those four photos. I have added in a zip strip down the bottom, and it's got the date, and I'm going to use that as a journaling panel across the bottom of the page. So I strongly suggest you keep those zip strips. They really do come in handy. As you can see, here's another one that I've used because they just are those finishing anchor points. They're the quotes that you can use, their titles. There's a whole lot of things that you can do with them. So keep those, keep them handy, and they will help contribute to your layout. So no, you won't be disappointed that you have kept them. I have these two strips here, which are like photo strips. They're printed. One's like a Kodak film strip of the old school, and one's like a slide from old school. I'm going to tuck those in here at the top like Miss Carrie has on hers, and they're going to be my corner anchor pieces up here. When I have put this all down, and you see me scrapping and putting this all together with the tape here, I realise when I go to lay down my fishtail banners that I actually am too far over to the right. So I have to move that whole panel just over to the left a little bit. And that's the beauty of the tape. It allows me that little bit of flexibility to move things around. So I'm just carefully lifting it off so that it doesn't tear the paper. It did tear the backing of the black one, which doesn't matter. I am just going to retape that up so that I can use it again. And then I'm just going to shove it all over to the right-hand side so that I have enough room on the left to put those fishtail banners in without touching the photo. Just a little bit of jigging, a little bit of realigning, and then that's all ready to go. Now, with a printed page like this, and it's got lines of text, I'm able to use those lines to guide the placement of these fishtail banners so that they are straight across the page. Now here's where it comes stretching of your stash. I am putting the two fishtails either side of the page here, and there is the gap in the middle, but don't panic because the photo will be covering that and no one will know that it actually doesn't go right across. So you just work your way up the page slowly, adding your pieces, layering them under and over so that they have that visual effect of a ladder climbing, and you just build it up one piece at a time so that the whole layout comes together beautifully. So sometimes you may need to lift to tuck under, sometimes you may need to go over, but the whole purpose of the little pieces is so that you can make sure that you have enough of your scraps that go right across. Now, of course, if you've got lots longer scraps, you may be able to just cut the whole strip the size that you need. That's always what a lot of people do as well, but if you're like me and you want to use up those scraps that lie around in your collection for weeks and months and years on end, this is the perfect way of using them. Now, I like that I've mounted them with the black. It lifts it off that background, but it also defines the colours more for this photo arrangement, and it ties in with the night sky of the moon shots that I have done here. So I have got that scattering of orange in there, as you can see. It's not overly bearing. It just complements the photos, but it is visible and makes a nice complementary colour range in those fishtail banners. So I'm now going to be able to put this film strip to the top. Now I do try to, put the corner rounder through with the small one, and it doesn't work, so I have to grab the bigger one, and that's because the paper is a bit flimsy, but that's okay, and it still gives me the effect that I wanted. I wanted a rounded edge for this top strip, just as Miss Carrie has on hers. So this is going to slot in behind that last photo, and now I have got my ladder that's bridging those photos. When I place them down, I'm actually going to overlap the mounted part of both those photos so that that makes a continuous line up the page. And when these photos are in place, you do not know that they are just scraps behind that photo column. All right, now we're up to building the final touches for this layout, and I have another branding strip which happened to have these words, one of a kind and shine on, which I thought matched perfectly for these photos. And then I'm going to put in the date stamp, and I know the date, it was the 11th of September this year, And so I'm going to put that down on that final strip at the bottom. And then I'm just going to journal in that it was a supermoon and it was a partial eclipse that night, and I was able to take that photo. Now, as I said before, you can see down in the bottom of those 4 photos there, the eclipse is really noticeable on the bottom left one, and that flying insect, mosquito, whatever it was, is perfect in that bottom right, just an added touch. And I love that I was able to get that moon with the 4 different shades throughout. Now, to finish off the embellishing of this, I've got some geotags, which I have backed with colours that I've used in the fishtails. And I have also put in a compass star there to show the directionality on this layout. When I was looking at this base before I started creating it, and after I had done the black splatters, I also added in some orange splatters just to continue the colour pattern across. I'm using some pop dots there just to pop those smaller geotags up, just to give some dimension to the page. And because there is that flying insect there, I am going to add a little one in to that cluster at the top, just as a point of interest, a point of humour on my half, that I was able to catch that, like, without even knowing. Like, I couldn't have timed that better if I tried. That was just one of those classic moments when you take a photo and you look at it and you go, wow, that's something really special. So I am finishing off my layout now with some black ink. It is actually the Hickory Smoke Distress ink, so that I have those edges smoked down. And there is my final layout. You can see the details of those fishtail banners, the splatters of the paint or the ink behind, the film strips that are used in the top there to build those clusters and anchor points, the geo strips, and you can see that I have journaled across the bottom. This is a great way to stretch the sketch by taking a double page layout and bringing it down to a single page. And look at those photos, they are magnificent. The colours are just so rich and vibrant, and the detail is quite amazing. I cannot believe that I was able to take that off my back deck. So thanks everybody for stopping by and watching this video. Hopefully there's something here that inspires you to give a go at stretching the sketch. Make sure that you check out the playlist down below with all the people who are stretching this sketch this month and using this sketch to build layouts that are all going to be very different, but starting from the same point. So as you can see, all together that double sketch came down to a very, very compact and neat and tidy layout. I'm Kathy from Kathy Loves to Scrap. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if something inspires you, or you like something, or it reminds you to do something. Thank you to my subscribers who keep coming back every single time. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you stay on and watch the next video. And remember, you can find me as Kathy Loves to Scrap under all my socials, including Instagram, where all my layouts end up, even those without videos. Thank you for watching. Happy scrapping till next time.